What's up guys, this is Scher talking, welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I'll be making a full review for the SaGa Ashura banner that brings Ashura a damage dealer, then also Venus a damage dealer, debuffer, and Odin a damage dealer, damage booster. That's right. Well, let's go straight to rs.waxyz website. We have Ashura as the main character of the banner, and he has 125% STR and agility. He is a martial artist, so he needs both status. He does have very good endurance, a little lower wheel, but that's usually good enough if you have buffers. Very low intelligence, love, and charisma because he does not use those. And from first passive, he reduces damage taken at all times by 30%, starts the fight with actually 16 from two different passives, and when landing any attack, he will just follow up with Punishing Rush. This is an interesting skill because it's not strong, it's just E-power, kind of similar to a normal attack, but it recovers BP between 2, 4, 6, and 8. You could say that on average luck, you have something like 5 BP as extra, considering the lower and higher value, and that will help him use some of his pricey skills, because he has 2. Moving on start of turn, he buffs all of his status by 15%, much like Saruin, for example. Then he has a Heat Up Extreme, increasing damage potential by 30% for the whole fight. Triggers 5 times per battle, so on turn 5, you have 150% damage increase alongside the All Status buff. Moving for skills, you can also use Punishing Rush Plus as a command, but this one uses 3 BP when you are using, and it gives you 2, 4, 6, and 8 random value, and like I said, on average of 5, so when using it as command, it looks like he's only going to have an extra 2. But if you're using this, you will follow up again, and that means that in the end, you will get around 10 BP on average the turn that you use Punishing Rush plus as command and as a follow-up, considering the 3 points that you get by the end of the turn as well. Like I said, this is super important because his skills are extremely pricey. For example, Hellblaze, it's a full AoE attack with heat damage, uses 16 BP, he already starts with 16, but it does have triple S power. It's a martial arts attack with just heat damage. It's interesting because it will likely kill all enemies in some farming scenarios, but usually we have to attack 2 waves, and he will not have a follow-up attack. By turn 1, he only has 30% damage increase in his status buffs. I don't know if he is really that strong for farming, even though triple S power seems super high, right? But we already have people like Galahad, Merlot Tyrant, that have attacks that are similar to triple S power as well. And then we have 6 arms. This is his best attack, and it will attack random enemies 6 times, always. It's just blunt damage. And every time that you attack, you grant yourself a blunt attack boost. It does increase by 25% and lasts for just 1 turn. So, each new hit will do more damage after you are increasing your blunt damage. And the base of the power is C. That could say that, well, 2 hits will be similar to triple S power already. You could say that he is using like 3 attacks with triple S power, one after another. And this is like Leon full charge when he is on all bullets, but not considering his anti-material shot inheritance. Yeah, old Leon fully charged when using 6 arms. But new Leon fully charged with anti-material chase and all 5 bullets will still do more damage than Ashura. The problem with Ashura is that he cannot attack every single turn with the use of 6 arms. But like I said, even if he's using 16, then he is probably going to get back 5 because of Punishing Rush Plus via chase. Now, you actually attacking 7 times, and even the Punishing Rush will get stronger damage as a chase. And then on the next turn, you will likely use Punishing Rush as command, and you get around 10 BP, meaning that on good RNG, on average, you can use 6 arms and then Punishing Rush, then go back to 6 arms. So very strong damage, average damage, very strong damage. Again, that's how Ashura works. The good thing is that he can't do lots of damage by turn 1. But Summer Leon is something that will happen later, and Summer Leon will use all his bullets right from turn 1, but only for 10 turns. So I think the character is cool to use, but not really amazing when you consider the future. And he has nothing for the team. It's just pure damage. He does have an S style that has mini conflagration. It's a full AoE attack with heat that he can actually follow up now because of how Blaze on turn 1 and then this weak attack on turn 2, but this will knock you waves. You need to use someone else on the second turn. Then Whirlwind Kick Plus, that's now an SS power attack that hits a column of foes, and he can actually use this 2 times. And he will even chase with that Punishing Rush Plus, not that it's gonna help anyway. And it boosts defenses. Not that he's needing this, but for farming situations, in book number 3, you'll see enemies aligning in column again. So, just 30% damage on turn 1, but status boost will allow him to solo some stages, but not all. And there's Knockout Plus, a very strong AoE attack with S power, but there's not much utility since he does not have a follow-up with Blunt. So, Ashura is a strong damage dealer. You cannot say otherwise. And he does have good ways to survive by buffing all of his status, and he is also capable of doing strong damage by turn 1, but he will not beat Leon, and Leon just gets stronger in the future. And by being pure damage dealer, it's super easy to skip Ashura, as we will get other damage types like the future Alkaiser that can do blunt damage, sun damage, and also gives effect to the party, much like Joe is giving. So even though the character is good and we receive a triple S grade, it's someone that will be demoted and not important to have when going into future challenges. The next character is Venus, and she's a staff user for the fire element. She has 115% intelligence and 106% agility. Well, she is fast, but her intelligence could have been higher. 78% endurance is expected from mages, and 91% will, not as high as many mages that we saw. That's just because she wanted a lot of charisma to have 100%, and that can be helpful or not. Moving on, Venus buffs all surviving allies, including herself, charisma by 20% on the start of turn. And that helps with healing effects, and it also helps her apply charm. When landing an attack, she will also debuff the enemy STR and will by 5%. That's not a really good combination because STR and will. That means that you are using mages and you want to increase your mage damage and you are facing an enemy that's using STR based attacks. Could help, but well, intelligence buffs are much more important in hard challenges. Also, when attacking, she has a 50% chance to follow up with Proeminence Shiv. That is skill number 3. That is both hit and slash damage, naturally cost MVP, triple S power, and grants the enemy this defense down that lasts for just 5 hits, but it does have such a high value, 50% defense down. Lasts for 2 turns, but if you trigger all 5 hits right after, it will break. And it's not really good to be used with characters like, for example, Leon, because, well, on Leon's case, depending on the number of bullets he has, he will just break the defense down himself. Or someone like Mirza with left fork, and the number of 5 hits, he broke the defense down as well. In those cases, it's better to use someone like Creator or Matcha with Sundered effect, because you keep increasing the damage output so that the next character does more and more and more. But this type of defense down helps when you already want to start high. For example, you can bring a damage dealer with just 1 hit, like Saruin, like Hardy, and they will already start on high. So it does have some utility, and, well, we'll talk when we use this as command, but as a follow-up, it will debuff defense by 45%. Now, on the start of a turn, she gets this Elemental Enhanced Heat of Extreme Effect that triggers 3 times per battle. It will increase her heat damage by 90% by turn 3. Also, when landing heat attacks, she recovers to repeat. All of her attacks have heat. Then she has Latent Bloom Defense, that's kind of old passive, increasing damage potential by 20, so she actually has 110%, and on start of a turn, she grants this defense up, that decreases damage taken by 10%, triggers 5 times per battle. On turn 5, you have around minus 40% damage, so she starts kind of weak, especially versus physical attacks, and later she gets better defensively. Now, spell number 1, Flare Blade. It's a single target attack with hit and slash, 2 BP cost and C power. Okay, and it tries to debuff 2 different status, this time Endurance and Intelligence. Oh wait, she's trying to debuff STR and Will, and now she's trying to debuff Endurance and Intelligence. That's not really a very good combo. At least the debuffs here are higher, on 15%. It's super nice to have 2 effects on a very cheap skill, and since she gets 5 VP per turn, she is still storing 3 VP. But you will just kinda have 15% intelligence debuff and 5% STR debuff. Why? Maybe if you don't want to trigger the 5 weakness, then you know exactly the dark sword of the enemy. The second skill is Wild Temptation. It's a full AoE heat attack with just D power and costs 7 DP. She can actually use this 2 times in a row if she wants. And applies Confusion and Charm with High Chance. High Chance is nice, especially because she already has good enough intelligence, and in that it will land. And you usually use this type of things on Remembrance. And on Remembrance, both Confusion and Charm works for Wuhan. And there are many different characters that can do Confusion and Charm for Wuhan, because this is a staff user, right? Not really a hard type. But if you ever need this type of ailments in the future, she can provide, and can provide with very good chances. Then the last skill is Prominence Shift, that we already discussed it. And now, if you use this as a command, you will apply the defense down first, and then your follow-up attack, it's also triple S. If it happens with 50% chance, it's used on rank 1. That means lower damage, but still gets benefit from the defense down. And we will apply another defense down. So, it will stack for a total of 95% defense down. And you have 5 hits from one part and 4 hits from the other, since you already used 1 hit on your chase. That means that you may want to use characters that have just 1 big hit of damage, like I said, like Saruin, like Harji, and many others. And it lasts for 2 turns, so there's plenty of time to use your nuker attacks. Now, for Inheritance, she has 3 different spells that don't make that much sense depending if you're using her correctly. Fira is 6 BP for double S power. She could keep using this for a lot of turns before she runs out of BP, but why? You actually prefer to use Prominent Shift as command so that everyone else does more damage. There's Flare Tome, that's an AoE A power attack for 10 BP. That's also not important. And there is Fire 2 that has 4S damage with 10 BP, but it's random. So, well, she's not your main damage dealer, I can tell you. And that's why she will always prefer to use her Prominent Shift instead of using any Inheritance. So, Venus is actually a pretty simple character that has hit damage, just that. Sometimes she also uses Slash with her main cycle and applies defense down. And defense down helps increase damage with other damage dealers. But she herself doesn't have that much damage potential. Her debuff types are a little strange. And when she wants to debuff Intelligence, well, she only debuffs by 15%. There are plenty of debuffers that can do that much, and there's nothing special about the skills here. Sadly, Venus is easy to skip. Good enough character to use if you like, but I don't think she deserves more than an SS plus grade, especially with the prominence of ScherBR that has a much better setup. She can apply all status debuff via inheritance of her witch streak. She can also follow up with a skill that can give BP when attacked by spell. She has also much higher damage output and can even heal the party if desperately needs. So you have ScherBR, you are totally safe, and you should be skipping Venus unless you are a fan of the character. Moving to the last character, Odin, and he's in hybrid and suffers so much from it. See, only 102% STR and intelligence, those are 2022 levels of status. 88% endurance and 82% will, also very old status. Because he still needs some agility with 95%, or he will miss his spells, and love and charisma are kind of bad. Moving on, he grants himself a damage block on start of turn that only lasts for that turn if he blocks. And when he's the only character alive and he attacks, he will recover 3 BP and recover 1 use of the Blade of Souls that we'll be discussing later. And if he gets killed once, he will revive. So you can see that he wants to survive a nuke from the enemy to recover something to use on the next turn. We'll be talking about that later. On the start of battle, he grants 3 different elemental enhance buffs to the whole party, and this is permanent. Everyone will do 20% more damage with Pierce, 20% more damage with Cold, and 20% more damage with Lightning. And if a character has double elements, and they are only of those 3, they will be increased by 40%. Also, when he's landing an attack, he gets 2 BP. Then we have 20% damage increase and reduces damage taken by 25 at all times, and then starts the fight with 11 BP. As you can see, even though he's buffing the whole party, he doesn't have many damage passives. Most of the time, he will get this 20% and then 40 from the other 2 elements. And he starts the fight with 11, and all this gimmick about blocking and reviving when killed. Skill number 1 is Ice Plus. It's a single target spell, so based on intelligence, that is random, cold damage, and when the attack lands, it will decrease the cold defense of the enemy by 15% on max level, lasts for 2 turns, and it can even stack. Then a second skill, Battle of Souls. That's the support skill that is recovery, fast, can revive everyone, and will also recover HP from 0 to max to anyone, even if they are debuffing your love and charisma. It has S power, and it will also grant the target this end of turn revive that will happen once. So he will recover everyone that was dead, revive them, and then once they die again, they will be revived with very large HP. So probably back to full HP again. The skill itself is a novelty. When you look on it, it's interesting, right? But you can only be used once per battle. So people died, you revive them, and they will revive again. Interesting. And then if he is the only one surviving and he attacks, why would he just attack, right? He will then get this Battle of Souls. But this skill, Battle of Souls, it's not an attack. The first time that everyone died and you use Battle of Souls, it will not recover. I don't think so, because it says when attacking. This is not an attack, it's a recovery skill. So there's a conflict of design here, and I really don't understand much. We already have people like Maria that heals, revives, and applies evasion 2 times, and that is more interesting in my opinion. And many other healers as well. He's not really reliable, he's not offering much to the party besides the damage boosts. So I wonder why would people bring him just for this gimmick alone. Moving on, Gungnir Spear is now a STR based attack, so just 102%. And before he attacks, he will grant himself a Pierce and attack boost that will increase both elemental damage by 45%. That's a 90% damage increase. I told you that he only had 60. 90, that means that he gets to 150% damage passes when using Gungnir Spear. But that only lasts for that turn, for that particular attack. So this triple S power skill will feel more like a 4S power attack with Pierce and Lightning. But then if you want to do something on the next turn, it's a cold-based attack that debuffs cold defense, and his nuke is not based on cold. So it's strange, right? But let's see if he has inheritances that make sense. Kinda does. You can get Ice Plus, that is a 4S attack, random as well, so that you can cycle between Ice Plus and then Ice 2, and that works, but he is not really that great for BP generation. He gets 5. That means that you need someone that gives BP like at least Liz or Nawal's daughter in order for him to have a normal cycle. He does have this Divine Lightning attack that is full AoE with lightning damage that can only be used 5 times per battle. You can use it on turn 1, but then later he can't. So he's not really a farmer when using this. And I don't know why we have a limit of usage. It's because of 11 BP. And he does have Lit Plus, so that you can apply Lightning Defense down. That will replace your Ice Plus. That makes more sense, because then this will increase a little bit of damage with Gungnir Spear. But even then, his damage potential is pretty limited because of very bad status, very bad will as well to survive versus ailments. He just simply does not give enough value. And for Cold and Lightning, you can use someone like Silver, even Creator has those elements as well. And for Pierce, there are multiple other options, especially Charade, that gives more to the team when being used on hard challenges. So Odin is more of a character that has some type of gimmick with his way to revive and give this revive when people die again. But then even to charge this, it's super rare and complex. And Odin is simply unnecessary. I will give him an SS plus grade. And there's nothing to say about a character that is really confusing. Now back to the banner image. Is this banner worth summoning for? In my opinion, no. I will only give it a bronze award. It's one of the easiest banners to skip of current times, because even if Ashura is strong, he's competing with Dread Queen, and she can do similar damage just via use of overdrive every 2 turns, and she can debuff, has much more volley. And Venus competes with ScherBR, that's a much better debuffer. Even though Venus applies defense down, well, there are better ways to do that in the future as well. And Odin is a strange type of damage dealer with access to some healing mechanics that are even harder to use. So nothing here stands out. None of these characters are must-haves or will impact meta in any way. So if you like them, you can summon because they are cool. But they are not really worth, in my opinion. But that's me. What is your opinion on all of this? Say here in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to support the channel, there are links in the description, like Coffee, Patreon, or PayPal buttons. And I hope to see you soon in the next video or live stream. Bye.